Centennial Sports TV. Michael Clarke goes for track and field gold at the Invictus Games. How good is the Centennial Colts cricket team? I find out. And the puck drops on the Buzzers' new season. All that and much more next.
Good evening, everybody. I am your host, R.J Stacey, and beside me is my very talented co-host, Vivek Jacob, and this is Centennial Sports TV. Vivek, how's the night treating you, my man?
Pretty good, hosting with you, so can't really complain.
I guess there could be worse places to be, especially when you're talking about sports like we are, and especially this week here in Toronto with the Invictus Games that are going on right now.
Yeah, the games are definitely having a big impact on the city, and it's just a special opportunity to see what these great competitors can do.
Yeah, and I imagine it being an incredible experience being there. And our own Jessica Ng was actually at the games on opening day, where she was able to experience the ceremonies and festivities of this incredible event.
Today I'm at Nathan Phillips Square, which has been transformed into a central competition space for the third Invictus Games. Established in 2014 by Prince Harry, the Games are the only international adaptive sporting event for injured active duty and veteran service members. The Toronto 2017 Games take place between September 23rd and 30th and are the largest in the Games history, with 550 competitors in 17 countries and 12 sports. Opening ceremonies kicked off at the Air Canada Centre and were a star-studded event.
What each of us can do in our lives to make the kind of difference that you make in the world every day. Thank you again for being here, and have a great day! For the next week, we entrust you with the Invictus spirit. You have all come such a long way. Some of you have cheated death and come back stronger than before. Some of you have overcome emotional challenges that until very recent years would have seen you written off and ignored. And now you are here, on the world stage, flags on your chest, representing your countries again.
Invictus is the Latin word for unconquered, and when you watch this year's competitors in action, unconquered is just the beginning. Reporting from the Invictus Games in Toronto, I'm Jessica Ng for Centennial Sports TV.
In 1986, Michael Clarke's time as a corporal in the Armored Corps of the Canadian Armed Forces came to an abrupt end. Clarke suffered a motorcycle accident that left him in a wheelchair due to a spinal injury. More than 30 years later, the Invictus Games arrival to Clarke's hometown has given him new life. Clarke won Canada's first medal of the Games in the men's IT5 100-meter wheelchair race with a bronze before leveling up with a silver in the 200. If that wasn't enough, he went all the way in the 400, winning gold. On Monday, Gabriel Ephard caught up with the retired veteran.
Got second place. Silver. How was that? How's that feel?
It was good. It was a good race. If you watched it, I spent as much time as I could out of the wind and tucked in behind somebody, trying to race smart. In these things, there's a pocket of air behind the person that's pushing, and if you can sit in that, it's like a car. You can draft in there. So that's why I kept going behind the French guy, and for a bit the American guy, and then when I was ready, I pushed out, but I guess yesterday took a little bit out of my arms. I didn't have that last 100 meters.
That's right, you just competed in the 100 meters yesterday before this.
Yeah, I did the 1, the 2, the 4.
The 1, the 2,
yesterday.
and the 4. So this is your 4th event?
This is my 4th event, yeah.
Is this your last event?
This is my last track event.
So you're done for the week now. How do you feel after?
I have to do something tomorrow.
Okay, you're done the track. How's that feel? How do you feel with your performance?
It's a great day. I've got 2 silvers, a bronze, and a gold, so that's a pretty good day.
That is a good day.
A couple of days.
Wow, it seems like quite the spectacle that's going on in Toronto this week. I know you got a chance to spend some time there. How has your experience been at the Invictus Games?
It's been amazing. I went to the powerlifting, and just seeing the fan support is incredible. You got fans from Afghanistan, Jordan, and of course, Canada.
Yeah, I can imagine it being such an amazing experience to go to something like this, but my one important question is, did you get to meet Prince Harry?
No, I haven't met him yet. I did see him.
Well, I mean, I guess that's close enough, but honestly, I'd say that he's really the one that's missing out here.
Ah, aren't you sweet?
Onto the ice now. Although the 30-degree weather may not agree, hockey season is back upon us here in Ontario. The St. Michael's Buzzards played host to the Mississauga Chargers in OJHL action on Sunday. We'll pick things up here scoreless in the second as Christopher Carabassis sends a saucer pass to Matthew Ciolin, but he can't handle it and fails to get a good shot off. Later on in the frame, Buzzards looking to strike first, Zach Young and Jonah Alexander both banging away in front of the net before the puck comes back to Mike Pellegrini, who tallies his first goal of the season to give St. Michael's a 1-0 lead. We skip ahead to the third period as Mississauga is on the power play and Ciolin redirects a Brendan Jindenko point shot past Cosimo Lazzarino for his second goal of the season. Game tied 1 apiece. But just over a minute later, the Buzzards would retake the lead as Nicholas Sabana finishes off a beautiful feed from rookie Ty Jackson for his third of the campaign. St. Mike's back in front, 2-1. Now, late in the third, Chargers back on the power play as Carabassis catches a Brandon Yauman's pass in the skate with his skate in the slot and roofs a backhand shot for his team-leading 8th goal of this young season. Buzzards even the score again, sending this one to overtime. And after the first one solved nothing, we go into 3-on-3 double overtime where Pellegrini gets hauled down by Yeomans after their best scoring chance of the period to give the Buzzards a man advantage with just 23 seconds left. The Buzzards worked around the power play on the clock, and Austin Clapham takes a shot from the top of the circle and Jackson whacks at the rebound, but he could not beat the buzzer. After the final whistle, the game ends in a 2-2 tie. After the break, the University of Toronto tennis team hopes to remain undefeated. And my co-host shows that he can hop on the pitch himself at Centennial's cricket tryouts. Up on Centennial Sports TV.
Are you annoyed by pens that just don't work? Ever wanted to play tic-tac-toe, but had to settle for other childish games? Has a girl ever told you her number, but you don't have anything to write it down? Have you ever had $1 million idea lost because you have no way to show people? Well, thanks to the new Super Stilo 5000, you'll never have these issues again.
Thanks to the Super Stilo 5000, I've never lost a thought or a number.
Call 555-0123, that's 555-0123 for your Super Stilo 5000. Act now, and we'll even throw in this brand new Super Duper Stilo 10K that works on whiteboards. That's 555-0123. Call now.
Over at the University of Toronto, the men's team was a perfect 4-0 heading into the weekend. Out of Vancouver, BC, Felix Fan is currently in his 3rd year majoring in management and was first up in their matchup with Carleton University. On a hot September's day, serving is Carleton's Nicholas Casenza to Fan wearing blue. Fan showing much better control in this 11-shot rally, first pushing Casenza deep with the forehand before moving him around the court and eventually killing him softly with the drop shot. On serve now, and Fan uses the serve and power forehand combo to take the first set 6-love. On to the second set now, and Fan continues to be the aggressor, using the serve to set himself up perfectly to control the point with those powerful ground strokes again. Cosenza chasing shadows. You've got to be impressed with the power of Fan throughout, especially for a guy under 6 feet. On serve here again, and Fan forces the unforced error. Fan definitely not so friendly in this 6-love, 6-1 win. Next up, we have Etobicoke's Sasha Obusina for UFT up against Carleton's Joe Lloyd. Lloyd already working a sweat. Obusina on the near side here. Great serve to the Lloyd backhand to open up the court, but he doesn't do enough with the cross-court forehand. Lloyd to the net after the dropper, but he gets Obusina scrambling with the lob and wins the point with a comfortable drop volley. Obusina serving near court once again, changes it up with the deep backhand, which seems to throw Lloyd off as he sends back a poor lob. Easy pickings for Obusina with the smash. Lloyd clearly feeling the heat. Not that I'd complain. Now in the far court in the second set, Obusina continues to apply pressure with a solid backhand, eventually forcing another error from Lloyd. Another rally and more powerful ground strokes from Obusina to help wrap up another win for the University of Toronto, 6-1, 6-1. After Centennial soccer team denied me the opportunity to play for them, I was determined to make sure I got that rejection out of my system. The Coles cricket tryouts were held this past Thursday, and I thought, why not give myself a shot at redemption? Here's a look at how it went.
Vivek Jacob, you're about to go to cricket practice. You excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I haven't played in 6 years, so just excited to be playing again.
And how long do you think until you knock that rust off? Think it's going to take a few overs, or do you think right away you'll get right into it?
I think it'll depend on the level of competition in terms of the rust. If it's not too intense, then it'll probably come to me a bit easier. But in terms of my hand-eye coordination, that's probably the thing I'm thinking about the most. If there are some really fast guys, then that might take a bit more to get used to.
Wouldn't that high level of play though, and that intensity, wouldn't that bring out your best?
Yeah, it definitely pushed me. But you know, sometimes the body can't do what the mind wants it to.
Very profound. Okay, great. Let's go to practice. Now, the suspense is killing us. Did you make the cut?
Yeah, I did. I made the cut.
After the break, we have your fantasy football suggestions for Week 4, as well as our 3 games of the week in the NFL, coming up on Centennial Sports TV. We are already 3 weeks into the NFL season. For fantasy owners, while some of you may be sitting pretty at 3-0, every year there are those panicking fantasy owners who are looking to do whatever it takes to get out of their 0-3 hole. This week, I joined Mike and Ben on our NFL panel, where we look to help those same panicking owners with our Week 4 ads and drops, as well as giving you our 3 games of the week.
Thanks, guys. Week 4 of the NFL season is upon us, and we're going to talk some fantasy football. We'll start off with you, Ben. Who are some guys that you think might need to get themselves a drop this week?
Well, I think a guy that is almost definitely a surefire drop is tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, Austin Hooper. I know what you're thinking, that the tight end is the scarcest position in maybe all of fantasy sports, especially fantasy football. But after putting up big numbers in week number 1, he's been invisible in week 2 and week 3. There's just too many mouths to feed in that Atlanta Falcons offense with their elite running backs and very talented wide receivers, including Julio Jones. I just don't think Austin Hooper has much fantasy value at all right now. You're way better off just streaming tight ends depending on matchup.
Yeah, and coming up against the Buffalo Bills, they got a very good defense so far this year. They've displayed that, so it'd be a tough matchup to start them this week. How about you? Who are you dropping this week, RJ?
First, I definitely got to agree with Ben on Austin Hooper. The targets just aren't there. Even week 1, he had to break open those 2 long touchdowns, or 2 long passes and the 1 long touchdown. I got to go from the least deep position to probably the deepest position in quarterback, where we're dropping Cam Newton. I know it's hard to believe, the MVP just a couple years ago, but Carolina doesn't look that good right now. Cam Newton isn't looking like the MVP of a couple years ago, and I think you can just stream quarterbacks. You got Trevor Siemian's out there, you got Alex Smith, you got Jared Goff even. I think there's way too many quarterbacks available to keep rolling with Cam.
Yeah, it's a pretty deep position, but there's a couple of guys out there who have really boosted their stock in the past couple of weeks, so let's talk about them. Who's a guy that you're looking to add?
I'm definitely looking to add Wendell Smallwood, and it's less to do with what he's done on the field. He's kind of performed how we would expect, but it's more what happened with his teammates. Darren Sproles just went down. He tore his ACL and broke his arm in the same place, so it's very safe to say he's out for the entire season. And just last week, LeGarrette Blount had no touches at all. So even though, well, that's 2 weeks ago, sorry, but last week he got it going, but you can tell the Eagles aren't fully invested in him. So that opens the door for a guy like Wendell Smallwood. And if he can take advantage of his opportunity, his fantasy stock could increase dramatically. So if he's still on your waiver wire, you better go out and get him.
Who's the guy that you're looking to add this week?
Yeah, again, I got to agree with Ben, too, on Smallwood there. I'm not sure this is a week where I would use my number 1 claim, or maybe if you're in the free agent budgets, I probably wouldn't spend over 10-15% on any of the guys this week. A more deep league one would be Paul Richardson of Seattle. Home game upcoming this week against a bad defense in the Colts. Doug Bolton's got a banged-up groin. Jimmy Graham hasn't been the Jimmy Graham of old so far this year, so I think it's a good week where you could just stop in and spot play Paul Richardson.
Yeah, I think Richardson would definitely be a good add there against a very, very poor Indianapolis secondary. But we got a whole bunch of games going on this week. It's going to be a fantastic week of football, followed up with week 3, which was a great week. What are a couple of games? What's a game to watch for you this week?
Well, I think that for the game of the week, you're going to have to wait till Monday night. It's going to be the Chiefs against the Redskins. The Redskins put on a clinic against an amazingly talented Oakland Raiders team, and the Chiefs, the record speaks for themselves, one of the few remaining undefeated teams at 3-0. So I think that's going to be an amazing game, and I can't wait for it.
How about you, RJ?
I think there's great football all week. Monday night, I think you can see great football in the first game of the week on Thursday night as well, with Green Bay hosting Chicago in a divisional matchup. Green Bay coming off that overtime thriller where they came back, and Chicago took down Pittsburgh at home as well. So this is a good matchup coming up this week, and there's lots of great games on the schedule.
Yeah, another one that I'd watch. Let's have a Sunday game. You went with the Monday nighter, you went the Thursday nighter. Sunday's the day of football. How about a nice divisional match between the Broncos and Oakland? The Broncos and the Raiders both coming off losses. They're going to want to try and get back in the win column, and I expect that both of them are going to try and keep up with the Chiefs, and that's going to be a real good game. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, week 4 is going to be great, but there's an even bigger story in the NFL just this past week, one that was all over every sports media channel.
Yeah, the story behind the national anthem and the kneeling started by Kaepernick was really the biggest story in the NFL this weekend.
Yeah, it really did open up some eyes all across the league and on social media. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you to everybody who watched the show tonight, and thank you to my co-host, the varsity athlete, Vivek Jacob. Amazing.
Always a pleasure, RJ.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching Centennial Sports TV.
Have a good night, everyone.